Everything stated in this video is my opinion and my opinion only. And just like everything else in these cases we discuss here on this channel, everything is alleged.
On December 1st, 2022, Corporal Payne asked if I would assist with interviewing blank members of Ethan Chapin at the Latah County Annex building, probably family members. I arrived and spoke with Maizie Chapin, Ethan's sister. I introduced myself to Maisie and told her I would be recording our conversations so I would not miss anything she said. Maisie had filled out an adult victim background questionnaire, which I reviewed before speaking with Maisie. Well, Maisie filled out. Yeah, that's something that Steve said when it came to like getting any information about Kaylee from them. That instead of interviewing them and like asking them specifically about Kaylee and like any questions, they just had a freaking questionnaire to fill out, like about their kid, and then turn it back in. That was like wild to hear. Not shocking, but wild to hear. Maisie listed Ethan as being easygoing, positive, friendly, funny, and stated he did not have any negative issues or negative feelings with anyone. Maisie listed the following people as being the people whom Ethan spent the most time with. So KF, PE, HC, HJ, and EA. Okay. Maisie told me the following about the people who Ethan was closest to. So this is what she has to say about Xana. Ethan and Xana have been dating for about 1 year and met through school. Maisie has known Xana for 1 year and met her through Ethan. Maisie talked with Xana once during Rush, but never hung out with her until Xana started dating Ethan. She partied with Xana, but never hung out with her outside of that. Xana was a junior, had a lot of friends, and knew most of campus. Maisie met Xana's dad briefly during Parents Weekend, never met Xana's sister, and never heard anything factual about Xana's mom, but knew Xana did not have contact with her. Ethan would often spend time with Xana while she was at work at Mad Greek. Ethan and Xana never mentioned having weird feelings about anyone, customers, or employees at Mad Greek. Ethan never said anything negative about his relationship with Xana to her. PE. P is a blank and in the blank fraternity. So that's probably like the year, senior or junior that this person is in college, and then whatever fraternity they're in. Maisie does not know much about P. Maisie thought P was a farmer and from California, but she was not sure. A farmer. That's kind of interesting. Ethan would spend a lot of time with P, and they met through the fraternity. Ethan and P were very similar and would often watch football together on Sundays. P lives at blank. I wonder if that's an address or if it's like a fraternity house. Ethan would hang out with P 3, 4, or 5 days out of the week. When Ethan would be with P, they would spend time at Xana's residence, P's residence, and several apartments at the Whites. And I guess there's like names for whoever apartments they are. EA, which would be Emily, and JL. I feel like JL is like the boyfriend girlfriend, but the way they have it in here is a little bit confusing. And JL apartment on the second floor left side. The blank apartment at the Whites, CATR, Ethan's blank, and Hunter, unknown last name. The top floor on the right. Would that be Hunter Johnson, maybe? Okay, so then going on to KF. K was one of Ethan's closest friends. K lives in blank at blank. Okay. Maisie stated K and P were Ethan's closest friends. You know what's interesting? Because ever since this happened, we've been being told the whole time that Hunter Johnson was his best friend. Hunter Johnson was his best friend. Hunter Johnson was his best friend. We're not really hearing that, like when it comes to the facts here. Honestly. Which is interesting, because, you know, you got to take in that dynamic. You got to pay attention to that dynamic. Maisie stated K and P were Ethan's closest friends. Maisie did not see any substance use amongst any of Ethan and his friends, but said they drank a lot, which was normal for a fraternity life. HJ is probably Hunter Johnson. Hunter Johnson is dating Emily a lot and was the person who Bethany and Dylan called to come to their house that morning of the homicide. See, they're either calling for Hunter through Emily or something else is going on there, because like his phone never got a call. Ethan golfed a lot with J and E. I hate the way they have this in here. Ethan golfed a lot with J. So they're calling Hunter Johnson just Johnson now. And Johnson and Emily came over to the house over the summer several times to hang out. Ethan never had any issues with Johnson. So they're not even really like, Maisie's not even really describing Hunter Johnson as like a friend of Ethan's. He's basically like a third wheel that came along because he's dating Xana's best friend. Are y'all hearing? Like, are y'all listening to that? There's nothing in the way that Maisie is describing Hunter Johnson that would make you believe that Hunter Johnson is a friend to Ethan. But in this damn book where they interviewed Hunter Johnson, they make it sound like him and Ethan were so close that he almost chose a different fraternity just because of him. Hunter's looking really sketchy. I'm just saying. He goes in the room, only pays attention that Xana's there, doesn't notice if Ethan's even there at all for a minute. The second that he hears something might be wrong with Xana, he leaves his girlfriend behind and just jets over to the house. Notices that it's kind of odd that her door's open because she sleeps with it closed. Something about Hunter Johnson is creeping me the hell out. the more that we've been learning. His own triplet sister is not even describing Hunter Johnson as a friend to Ethan's. That's interesting. Let's continue. That's interesting. Maisie never heard of or observed Ethan get into fights with anyone. Ethan never confided in her about having problems or frustrations with anyone. Ethan never mentioned having any issues with any of the girls who lived with Xana. Maisie spent time at Xana's house and never observed any issues between any of the roommates. Maisie said she did not know Maddie or Kaylee well, and said she knew Bethany and Dylan better. Maisie thought, well, she doesn't like Dylan. She's made that pretty clear. Maisie thought if Ethan did have anything he needed to talk to someone about, he would most likely speak with their blank H, which would probably be Hunter Chapin, or Xana, because he saw them daily. Maisie said Ethan was an open book and was not a private person. I asked Maisie if she knew that what Ethan did on Friday and Saturday, November 11th or 12th. Maisie said she was not sure what Ethan did on Friday. Maisie said on Saturday, Ethan did not go to the football game or tailgate and thought he spent that time at the Whites, possibly at J and E's apartment, Emily's apartment, which is where they were before he was supposed to go off to go to her dance. Maisie said in the evening, Ethan went with her to her formal event, which was at Hunga Donga from 1900 to 2. It was only an hour. Okay. Maisie said they drove to Hunga Donga in their vehicle with Ethan. Hunter Chapin with his date RS, which is I think one of her sorority sisters. Is it her roommate? Is it her roommate or just a sorority sister? One of the two. There's Ethan. There's Hunter Chapin with his date RS, and then we have DM in parentheses. But then it says, and his date HB, and JK and his date RB. So what is the DM right here that's apparently a dude? I'm gonna have to go back and look at lists. Okay. But apparently this dude is a fraternity member. Him and the J guy are both the same kind of like fraternity. Maisie said Hunga Donga was rented by her sorority and that it was a private event. Maisie told me she knew the majority of everyone who was at Hunga Donga and nothing out of the ordinary occurred while they were at the event. Maisie said they all left Hunga Donga in the same car and drove to her sorority where the girls, including her, got out, went inside, and changed clothes. Maisie said R, H, and R all got back into the car and left with Ethan, Hunter, and whoever this other D name is probably a Daniel or a David. It's not DB, it's not DL, so I don't know who the DM guy is. And Jay to go to the party at blank. This would be the Sigma Chi party, I'm assuming. Maisie said she texted Ethan at approximately 2014 hours, telling him she did not want to go with them to that party and was going to stay at her sorority. Maisie said Ethan texted her several times trying to convince her to come to that party, but she did not go and eventually fell asleep around 2200 hours. Maisie said the blank party was just a normal Saturday evening party. I asked Maisie if she saw any weird comments on Ethan's social media. Maisie says she recently logged into Ethan's Instagram account and made it private because it was public and a lot of random people were making bad comments on it. Maisie said people were speculating this was a substance-related thing or something to do with the girls. Maisie told me she did not notice the names of the people who were commenting, but said they were weird accounts with just one follower. Maisie said people were making bad comments on all of the other victims' accounts as well. I asked Maisie if the girls had any bad feelings with any of their neighbors. Maisie said she did not think so. Maisie told me she was at Xana's house a lot of the weekends and said they would often get noise complaints. We knew about that. Maisie said she was present for 2 of the noise complaints. Maisie thought the person making the complaint lived in a house behind 1122 King Road. Okay, but was not certain. Maisie told me she never witnessed any retaliation from any of the neighbors. I asked Maisie if Xana and her roommates knew everyone who lived around them, and she said she did not know. I thanked Maisie for speaking with me and told her if she thought of anything else to let us know. My conversation with Maisie was recorded and is copied onto a DVD, which was booked into evidence. So it's just audio.
Please do not forget to leave a like on your way out and subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed already.